I don't even know what to say. This is, without a doubt, some of the best Star Wars we've ever gotten or are ever likely to get. Can't cover everything in this video because there's just so much. You know, the Andor has gone from a show that I was kind of middling on in the first season to some of the best written and most well-crafted stories Star Wars has ever seen. Still doesn't mean it's become my favorite show, but it has cemented itself as one of the most important additions to Star Wars lore. I was on the edge of my seat for all 3 of these episodes. Even episode 7, which was, kind of more set up for the other 2. But I think knowing roughly what was coming just made it more suspenseful. And even if you didn't know what was coming, everything in the story tells you something is going to happen. And also in this episode, even though, like I say, it is kind of set up, there is so much. It was great seeing Yavin. I loved the little hut that Cassian and Bix were living in. It's kind of neat seeing Yavin from a different perspective, how people live, how it works in more detail from off screen from the movies. It's a shame we didn't get to see the creation of the base in this show, but that's okay. Probably be covered in a book or a comic or something eventually. I feel like in that year gap, there is a lot you could fill in. How did Cassie and Bix end up there? How did Willimon get away from Saw? I thought at the end of the last episode, that was kind of solidifying his joining Saw, but I guess not. But like I say, everything in this episode was leading up to the moment of the next episode, which was so well handled. The last episode ending with that song, presumably in Gorman, and then the next episode beginning with it, I'm not afraid to admit, I was tearing up periodically from the opening title card all the way through the lead up to the massacre. They did such a great job the last 3 episodes of showing the Gorman people and leading up to it, building up your sympathy to lead you to this moment. Even the build up, I'm sorry, I'm kind of all over the place here, but as Cyril realizes something is going on, Andor is watching it from his point of view. I liked seeing it from Cyril and Andor's point of views, kind of like 2 opposite ends. How tragic was Cyril in this episode? He's a bad guy, but I don't think he ever meant for anything to go on this far. He didn't know what he was a part of. His death was, glad he got to see Cassian at the end, but how tragic was it, that line that they even named the episode after, who are you? All this time, Cyril is chasing after Andor, and he realizes Andor doesn't even know who he is, and I think it just everything in this episode breaks him, and I kind of felt sorry for him at the end. And even for Deidre as well, she's convinced herself that she's doing the right thing, but I think deep down she knows that this is just messed up, way beyond anything she planned either. And I love how in the lead up to the massacre, it's showing you the steps to get there, not just like it's not a bunch of Imperial officers making the plan and telling you. It's a perfect example of show, don't tell. When they bring in those inexperienced soldiers and the sniper to get things started, it's horrible. This episode was the most brutal Star Wars has ever been. I thought episode 5 of The Acolyte was brutal, but this leaves that in the dust. Everything from people being shot down, Cyril almost choking Deidre, Cyril's death scene, the KX droids throwing people around. It's just, there wasn't a whole lot of blood, but if episode 3 didn't convince you that this show is not your kid's Star Wars, this episode should have. But unlike The Acolyte, this wasn't brutal just for the sake of being brutal. I feel like it needed to be for the emotional impact of the next episode. And as good as 8 was, I do think 9 was my favorite episode out of the 3, or at least the one I enjoyed watching the most. 8 was fantastically done, but I don't necessarily enjoy watching people get slaughtered, It was greatly made, and I could appreciate that, but, as far as enjoyment goes, I think I enjoy watching the cloak and dagger of Mon Mothma escaping a little more, if that makes sense. I like the suspense of episode 9, Mothma's speech. Yeah, it's a shame Jimmy Smits couldn't be there, but I do see that Bale was necessary to the episode, and Benjamin Bratt did a great job. I will say, after watching this last night, I watched the Rebels episode Secret Cargo after this, which, if you don't know and haven't seen the series, it basically picks up from here and shows basically the rest of Mothma's journey to the rebellion. And I was pleasantly surprised how well they actually fit together. Man, did they really cast somebody who looked like the cartoon character version of Erskine. He just man, he looked exactly like him. The main difference, besides it being animated, is of course that the speech is a little bit different, but that's okay. My headcanon is that we didn't hear the whole speech here. There was a lot of cutting back and forth, so both could fit together nicely. My only other complaint about this episode is, Perrin. What's going on with Perrin? Why, I feel like we should have seen a little bit of his perspective of what was going on, because, it kind of affects him. His wife is running away, joining the rebellion, about to be arrested, or at least a line as to why he wasn't there. I just feel like I hope we get it addressed later on. Like, where was Perrin in all of this? It just feels like an important thing that was kept out for some reason, but that's okay. Maybe for time, who knows. And also, while I know Andor is not the type of show to give us like Hera or Sabine or anything, I would have liked to have seen maybe the ghost ship arriving at Yavin 4 at the end. Just in the background, landing, don't have to see any of the characters or anything, but, it's not necessary. That's just a fan servicey thing I would have liked to have seen, and, maybe they were afraid it would have taken away from that end moment with Bix, which, can I just say I really like that? I like it because, like B2EMO, it gives them the chance to take a character out of Cassian's life for Rogue One without having to kill them. They still could bring her back to kill her off, but I kind of doubt it. This seemed like the end of her character for this show. It seemed like the end of them. I'm just glad with all that character has gone through, she does seem to get a happy ending. Yeah, anyways, guys, there's so much more that could be said. I don't know where it's going after this. I suspect that the next plotline will be mainly dealing with them finding out about the Death Star and probably just leading into Rogue One. But I really want to hear what you guys thought of these episodes. They were great. I was left a little speechless at the end, to be honest. Let me know what you guys thought, and I don't know what else to say. There's so much more that could be said. Cyril's mother. I hope we get to see a little more fallout from her finding out about her son's death, because that tear at the end spoke volumes about how, yeah, she's kind of an overbearing mother, but man, she does care. And it'll be interesting to see how it affects Deidre too, because I think she did care about Cyril. She was very panicked and anxious about him when he was gone, and she's kind of partially responsible for his death. At least that's how I think she would view it. So yeah, man, there's so much. I haven't even mentioned K2SO. That was neat. That's of course he's gonna come, but I just feel like after the emotion of the whole episode, I was clapping when K2SO came on, because I was like, okay, now here we go. All three of these episodes were just such a roller coaster of emotions. It was amazing. It was great. Let me know what you guys thought. I gotta go. Bye for now.